Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Lucky Wolf, and today I really want to talk about a team that did win a tournament this past weekend. Yes, the 23rd, the 22nd and the 23rd, yes. That did win a tournament this past weekend. Just for a little bit of background on the tournament, there were 84 players, 7 rounds plus top cut. X2 did top cut. And so the team I really want to talk about is Eric Rios' team that did come in first, that did get first in this tournament. I think this team has some really incredible synergies, and I also just really want to give a shout out to REGIDRAGO, and I think it's really kind of REGIDRAGO's time to shine. It's good to see REGIDRAGO getting more competitive play, because if you did play any VGC in Sword and Shield, Reggie Alecki was definitely the much more heavily favored new Reggie for VGC. Like Reggie Alecki's fast Electro Web, like fast speed control is always very good, plus Dynamax made it even better, because you could Dynamax to avoid the fake out, and then you could go for Max Electric. You could set up the terrain for yourself, but you could also be a physical Reggie Alecki. You could go for Max Airstream to not only increase your speed, but the partner Pokemon's speed. You could go for Max Darkness to decrease their special attack, and then be able to KO them with the partner Pokemon, or be able to KO them next turn. Just really incredible Pokemon that had hurt me many times. Really incredible Pokemon in Sword and Shield VGC. So it is nice to REGIDRAGO. REGIDRAGO won a tournament, so I do want to shout out REGIDRAGO, and that's one of the reasons I do want to talk about this team, is because of the REGIDRAGO, is because of the Farigiraf. I think I said that correctly. Is also because of the Farigiraf, which I actually talked about a couple videos ago, and I actually used in last video. And I think Farigiraf is also really helps with the synergy of this team. So I really just kind of want to talk about all that. And I do want to shout that Eric Rios did go 7-0. Very, very impressive to go undefeated in Swiss, and then went on to win the whole tournament. But I do want to jump into the team, so I got that pulled up on Showdown, so let's jump into it. So jumping into the team, the first synergy that I do want to talk about with this team is the REGIDRAGO and the Gholdengo. So the Gholdengo is a Choice Specs version, Choice Specs with Trick. I love that. I used that version a little bit in early, I guess it's still kind of early Regulation D, but I did use a version of that in early Regulation D. It's really nice to be able to trick. You get to trick the Trick Room setter, so it's like, sure, they might get their Trick Room up, but they have to waste a turn of their Trick Room swapping out the Trick Room setter. You get to immediately put them on the back foot. You know that they're going to swap out because they don't want to reset Trick Room, because that would then not help them. That would in fact behoove you. So then you get to hit that spot. You know, you can double tap that spot if you want to. It's really nice to put them on the back foot. You can also trick if you think that the opponent is going to go with their, like, Tailwind with their Tornadus. You can trick their Tornadus so it's stuck into Tailwind, all that kind of stuff. But that can get a little bit dangerous, as Tornadus is a special attacker. But, you know, and anything like that. The trick is really nice to put them on, to be able to put your opponent on the back foot. You could also, let's say the Rillaboom goes for fake out to the partner Pokemon, you can trick the Rillaboom, the Choice Specs, like all that kind of stuff. Same thing for the for Iron Hands. Anything that wants to go for fake out, it can be a really, really fun tool. Really mess up your opponent's, like, what's the word? It can really mess with your opponent's game plan and just be really disruptive overall. So I do think the Trick Gholdengo is very nice, but there's not very much that really swaps into a Make It Rain. Like, if you can get yourself in a position where you have Make It Rain on the board and you have the REGIDRAGO with Dragon Energy or Dragon Pulse, there's not a ton that really swaps into that safely. So you want to swap a Fairy type in to eat the Dragon Energy, because the Dragon typing doesn't affect the Fairy. However, boom! Gonna hit you with the big Make It Rain. So you can't consistently be able to get your Fairy types in. Additionally, a big buff to REGIDRAGO is, I believe REGIDRAGO was given the Earth power in Scarlet and Violet. Please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but the Earth power is really nice because what does swap into both a Dragon type move and a Steel type move? It's opposing Steel types, but you do have the super effective Earth power to be able, you can either make a prediction or once the Steel type's in there, you can go for the Earth power. So you do have the Earth power, which is a very consistent way to be able to hit opposing Steel types. So I do think the synergy between the REGIDRAGO and the Golden Go is really good. Additionally, you have the Tornadus for the speed control for the Tailwind, and it is Sash Tornadus with Tailwind and Icy Wind. And I know I've probably talked about this before, but I really like Icy Wind Tornadus. Icy Wind Tornadus kind of says, okay, I'm gonna Tailwind, but then I'm also gonna continuously hit you with the Icy Wind, so you never really get your speed control. You get like the double speed control. Also, if you're up against another Tornadus and you think that they're gonna go for Taunt, and you really don't want to go for the Taunt speed, or you don't want to go for the Tailwind Taunt speed tie, you can then go for the Icy Wind and immediately kind of put them on the back foot, so they go for Taunt, but then you get the Icy Wind off. So that way, with the Tailwind plus the Icy Wind, you are given 2 speed control options, and the Icy Wind can't be taunted, or the Tailwind can. So I really like Icy Wind Tornadus. Just never let your opponent kind of get the edge of the speed control. If they're trying to go fast, you're like, no, I'm gonna set Tailwind and then I'm gonna Icy Wind you down as well. So I really like Icy Wind Tailwind Tornadus very, very, very much. And you do have the Protect because you're running Focus Sash, so you're not running something like the Covert Cloak, so you can be faked out. So you can Protect to keep your Sash intact, or if they leave your Tornadus alive throughout, you set Tailwind, they leave your Tornadus alive, you can Protect the last turn of Tailwind, and then you're safe to get another Tailwind up after your Tailwind's over, because you do have the Prankster Tailwind ability. And so then I do want to talk about, it's also Scarf Urshi with the U-turn, so you do have 2 pivots. You do have 2 pivots on this team. You have U-turn on the Scarf Ursh, and you have U-turn on the Rillaboom, so you can reset your Fake Out, you can reset your terrain, everything like that. And I think Choice Scarf, Rapid Strike, Urshifu, it can be very, very oppressive. You know, you can't protect against it, and if you don't have very good water resists, then it's going to be really hard to be able to... You're outsped, you don't have good water type resists, and you can't protect. It's going to be very hard to be able to overcome the Urshifu, and if you use your resources to make sure that the Urshifu gets KO'd, then you're ignoring whatever the other partner Pokemon is on the field that can also do some big damage, whether it be Specs Golden Go, whether it be Dragon Fang, Dragon Maw, boosted Dragon Energy from the REGIDRAGO, like you, or Woodhammer Stomping, whatever it is, if you're focusing the Urshifu to make sure that the Urshifu doesn't do too much damage, then you're letting the partner Pokemon just get some really big attacks off, which I think is really why Scarf Ursh can be very, very good. Additionally, I do want to say, for the Farigiraf, I always used to say, now I can't remember what I used to say, but I've gone over this set a little bit. This set's slightly different from the set that we saw with get second in the tournament a couple weeks ago, where this set is using Dazzling Gleam and Psychic over Hyper Voice and Psychic. So the Hyper Voice and Psychic, you are opting for both your stab moves, whereas here you're opting for the Dazzling Gleam and you are Terra Fairy. That way you can go Terra Fairy and you can get rid of your Dark type weakness on the Giraffe, which is really nice. Rocky Helmet in a meta where physical attackers are very common, especially with something like Rapid Strike Ursh and everything like that hits you 3 times. Rocky Helmet, it can just be incredible. If they want to hit you with their Chiempao, which are usually Scarf, then boom, you instantly break their... You don't even have to go for attack, and you don't even have to go for an attack, and you break their Focus Sash. It's like Rocky Helmet's a great item. You cannot be Prankster taunted because of the Armor Tail. This Pokemon and its allies are protected from opposing priority moves. This does include Prankster Taunt, so you cannot be Prankster Taunted, you cannot be faked out, so you don't need to run something like Mental Herb, you don't need to run something like Covert Cloak, so you do get to run the Rocky Helmet. Additionally, not only does the Farigiraf give you Psychic and No, sorry, that's not what I wanted to say. No! Okay, maybe I'll cut it out, sorry. Let me start again. So not only does Farigiraf give you Trick Room and Imprison, so it can stop your opponent from setting up the Trick Room, it also gives your both Regidrago and Golden Go protection from priority moves that would deeply that would, how do I say it, that would deeply weaken both of them. Also the Urshifu as well. So the Farigiraf can be a really nice answer to E-Speed Dragonite plus Sucker Punch. So like even if you lead your Scarf Ursh and your Giraffe, and they lead Dragon Pal. I'm gonna let that sink in for a second. I have played against so much Dragonite Chien Pao, I just called it Dragon Pao. Okay, sorry. What I'm trying to say is, if they lead their Dragon Pao, I think it kind of gets the point across, but that's not what I was trying to say. But yes, if they lead their Dragonite and their Chien Pao, there it is, then they can't go for Sucker Punch or E-Speed. You outspeed them with the Urshifu, and you get some big Surging Strikes damage off. Additionally, if they don't target down the Giraffe, then you get your Dazzling Gleam off, and if they don't Terra, Dazzling Gleam is super effective on both Dragonite and Chien Pao. There we go. Also, the Farigiraf does protect the Regidrago as well from, well, it protects your whole side, but it's specifically important to protect the Regidrago from things like Sucker Punch, from things like E-Speed, anything like that would lower the damage output of Dragon Energy, because Dragon Energy, much like Water Spout or Eruption, is based on how healthy, how much HP your Pokemon has, so you want to keep it healthy. So if you're, even if you're in Tailwind, and you might outspeed with your Regidrago, you can't outspeed an E-Speed, you can't outspeed a Sucker Punch, as they are increased priority moves. However, the Giraffe does protect the Regidrago from those priority moves, so you can still make sure you're getting your powerful Dragon Energies off. Additionally, if you don't want, you are Terra Steel, but if you don't want to use the Terra immediately on your Goldie, but you do want to get a Specs Make It Rain off, and you're worried about a Sucker Punch, you can swap in your Giraffe. The Goldie is protected from the Sucker Punch, and then can get a Make It Rain off, can get a Trick off, all that kind of stuff. So I do think the Giraffe works particularly well with the Urshifu being able to shut down opposing Dragonite and Chien Paos. There we go. As well as with the Regidrago, making sure that your Dragon Energy, if you are faster, making sure your Dragon Energy does as much damage as possible, and you don't get weakened by Sucker Punch or Extreme Speeds, as well as the Golden Go, who is weak to the Sucker Punch. And if you do want to go for Make It Rain, if you do want to go for Shadow Ball, if you do want to go for a Thunderbolt, and you don't want to go for Trick, because Trick would also avoid the Sucker Punch, but if you want to go for an attack there, then you can swap in your Giraffe, you can get your attack off, and know that you aren't going to be Sucker Punched into oblivion. So I do think the synergy of this team is just really, really incredible. The Regidrago and the Golden Go, it's so hard to swap. If you have those two on the field, it's so hard to swap in to double attacks from those two. Additionally, the Giraffe just protecting your team from Prankster Taunts, from Sucker Punch, from Extreme Speed, anything like that, from Aqua Jet as well. And then you have your Rillaboom for Fake Out U-Turn, and you have your Tornadus for Tailwind and Icy Wind support, just to make sure your opponent can never get, like, the speed advantage, can never get their footing with the speed, because you set your Tailwind, and then you also can keep going for Icy Winds as well. And the Icy Wind, I want to say one last thing. I think the Icy Wind is really nice if your opponent is running a lot of the Genies or any of the Genies. Icy Wind is a beautiful way to hit them for super effective damage and lower their speed. So if they want to avoid the super effective damage, then they would have to use their Terra on one of the genies to not get hit by the super effective icy wind. So I do just want to point that out as well, but really and truly, I'll in the description down below, I will link Eric Rios, I will link the page that I was using on Victory Road as well, but just a super cool, super fun team. I really wanted to make this video because of REGIDRAGO! Like, I did play VGC in Sword and Shield, and it's so good to see REGIDRAGO really be able to shine. I'm still a Regieleki fan. I have a Regieleki plush. I do like Regieleki, but it's really nice to see the REGIDRAGO be able to shine. But I'm gonna call it there for today. Thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate that. If you did enjoy, please feel free to leave a like, comment, or subscribe. And after that, feel free to do exactly none of that, and I do hope everybody has an absolutely amazing day. Okay, for real, bye!